Aloha, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Manoa Valley Theater Live. My name is Dylan Chase Lee, and like always, I am your host for the show. Before we begin, as always, as is routine, as is tradition, we must bring in the main man himself, Kip Wilborn. Kip, how are you doing?
How's it, Dylan? How you doing, buddy?
Doing good, doing good.
Good.
So, we got an exciting show today. Would you agree?
Show. You know, we have like a current hot star, and then somebody who's been a part of our the fabric of Hawaii and performing for years. She's just fantastic, legendary performer.
Yes, I think legendary is the perfect word to describe this person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But first, go ahead. No,
after you.
After you, please.
After you.
But first, let's talk about the theater a little bit. I mean, there's not a whole lot of update to give you, except that there'll be details on our fall and, well, our whole season, but our fall lineup especially, coming up very soon. Dates. Keep your eye on your email, and also check us out on our Facebook page and Instagram, and also our website for updates there. So, Manoa Marquee, the Sapphire Ball, has been postponed. It was August 22nd. We're looking for a date and a venue at this point, but it is going to happen. So keep your eyes open for that as well.
Great.
All right. So, anything else?
I think we have a tag team interview that's going to happen today.
That's right.
From my understanding, Kip, you yourself are going to interview our first guest, and then I will tackle the second guest. Not literally, I won't tackle the second guest literally, but you know what? I'm going to interview the second guest.
Well, yeah. And I'm going to interview the first one because it's been my deep desire and goal for years to meet this artist.
Oh,
okay. I just had to meet him. So I should bring him out.
All right. Certainly. Let me go backstage and we'll bring in the guests.
Aloha!
Aloha! How you doing? How you doing?
Very well, thank you, as well as anyone can be while trapped inside an apartment in New York City.
So tell us a little bit about that, Jason. What's a typical day now?
A typical day is doing a lot of gardening. I live in the basement of a brownstone, and I'm very thankful to have a little private garden. And so that is the thing that, as our entire entertainment industry is at a standstill due to coronavirus, that is the thing that's like giving me joy and purpose. And so I'm planting vegetables. I started some vegetables inside. I'm tending to some little sprouts. I'm at war with slugs. There's like a slug infestation. And also, here's a crazy thing, rats. There are rats now because all of the restaurants, there's like no more food waste from the restaurants because they're all closed. And so these rats are starting to come into like the inner courtyard area. And so I'm trying to figure out I've been trying to sick my cat Malcolm on them, but like, he's a bad hunter.
New York rats are bigger than cats, so
come on. Yes, there is that. He's kind of like legitimately scared of them. Horrible hunter, too well fed.
All right. Well, you know, it's so inconsiderate of the restaurants. They should like keep putting that food out to keep the rat population away from the public.
I know.
Yeah, for
sure. That would solve everything.
So, if I understand right, and we've never met before, but if I understand right, you're from Hawaii, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Born and raised.
Except family here for a long time, or just recent?
Half and half. So half established, and then half. My mom grew up on the mainland.
And your dad was here. Okay.
Yeah. Grew up on Maui, but
nice.
Lived on Oahu. Yeah, that's where I grew up.
So, what part of Maui? That's all right.
All over.
That's okay. No worries.
I've been in New York for so long. I'm like, My Kama Ina status is gone.
The other day on the Stars in the House, there was a woman singing, you know, the song from Company, another 100 people just got off of the train.
Yes, I love that song.
Another 100 lyrics just went out of my brain. Did a full parody, the whole thing.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's genius. I love that.
It was fantastic. So,
I got to check it out.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So how did you, well, when you were growing up, were you like involved in the arts or music or anything?
Yeah, so I started singing in the church choir at Central Union Church, and that sort of led to doing community theater, and I just fell in love with it, and I kept doing it. And then when it came time to think about things that I wanted to do for my life, I briefly like tiptoed around the idea of becoming an astronomer, but I think I like the idea of being an astronomer more than the actual reality of being an astronomer.
Now you're a star, so you know,
hey,
close. So after that, now how did you end up getting to NYU?
I auditioned for a bunch of schools. My parents, I was very fortunate. They were very supportive of me being an artist, which is, you know, such a gamble as a parent. And they flew me to, I think it was LA and San Francisco to audition for like Carnegie Mellon and NYU and, you know, all of the USC, all the theater programs. Cause I knew, listen, like for any kids that might be watching, you don't have to go to a conservatory. There are so many different ways. There's no like one path to get to Broadway or to become a professional actor. But I knew that I needed to go to a conservatory just because first of all, I saw my sister just like blossom. She went to Carnegie Mellon, and I was like, I need that in my life. And I also knew that I was a late bloomer, so I needed like to not try to enter the industry yet and just focus on cultivating my craft. Right.
You kind of need to ferment a little bit, be there and be in it and around it.
And that's not the case for everybody. I know some 18-year-olds who know exactly who they are and they have such a firm grasp of how to tell a story. And I'm so envious of that. But that was not me as an 18-year-old.
Well, me neither. I get that for sure.
Yeah.
So, okay. So you make it to New York. You're at Tisch. So how did you get connected? What was your first professional audition in New York?
Oh gosh, I don't know the answer to that. My first professional audition, the first thing that comes into my head was auditioning for summer stock. Yeah. So there's a theater called Sacramento Music Circus, and they were at the top of my list because they were a Lort A not a Lort A, but it was like they had a high pay grade compared to other places, so there was, you know, the whole shebang. You had to sing a song, you had to do a bunch of dance calls, and you had to come in and sing again. And I ended up booking that, and I think I did 2 seasons there, 2 summers. I think my first summer was West Side Story and Oklahoma.
So were you playing the leads? Were you in the ensemble?
I was in the ensemble. I mean, ish. I played Baby John. Half Asian Baby John in West Side Story, and I was just in the ensemble in Oklahoma.
All right, very good. All right, so I was just thinking about this because I was thinking about when I first went to New York, and so I was trying to think of experiences. So did you ever have to do the cattle call auditions?
Yeah, I mean, like that audition that I was just talking about was kind of cattle call-ish, really. Although I do have to say, so. Like, by a stroke of fortune, I ended up playing Gavroche on Broadway when I was like 10 years old. And ever since then, my mom had the foresight to keep paying my union dues, so I didn't have to worry about becoming equity. And I was already in the union. So I didn't, there's like equity cattle calls, and then there are non-equity cattle calls, and the non-equity ones tend to be a little bit more, they just take up more of your time because you have to sit around and wait a lot longer. So I thankfully never had to endure one of those.
So I was going to ask you about when you first got your first Broadway show. About what happened when you finally you heard about it. But that was Gavroche, right?
Yes, yeah. So I auditioned for the national tour that was coming through, a Canadian tour that was coming through Hawaii, and they keep all the kids on file. And so one day my family got a call asking if I wanted to come to do it in New York for 6 months. And of course I was so excited and also so scared. Like, New York I had been there before, but I had never lived there. And my idea of like schools in New York, like I just imagined like just like the roughest thing you can imagine, like schools with like chain fences and like concrete and like basically I was imagining going to jail. Like school was going to be like going to jail. And of course it wasn't like that at all. But I was scared at first of New York.
Oh, sure. I get that. I was scared when I moved there when I was years old.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So how long have you been there now?
Let's see. I moved here in 2001. So a very long time.
Right. Okay. So tell us about your shows, the shows you've been in on Broadway. What was your first one after Les Mis, of course, as an adult?
The first adult Broadway show that I was in was A Chorus Line, which was so exciting. That was a very long audition process as well. I grew up on the movie, so getting to do it on Broadway was incredible. Getting the call to do that felt unreal. It felt like, well, first of all, I was convinced that Paul is supposed to be, I think, about 27 years old, if I remember correctly. And at the time I was like 23 23, I think. And so I just assumed that I was a little too young for it and that they were seeing me to cover the role as opposed to actually like play it. So I was really in shock, and I didn't tell anyone because I was convinced that, like I was convinced something that it was a hoax and that they were going to take it away and that, it wasn't going to be real until I signed a contract. So I didn't tell anyone at first.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So it's one of my favorites too. You remember Greg Burge, right?
Greg
from the movie, Gregory Burge.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Yeah, I did a couple of shows with him, and so he was a great guy. In fact, that dancer over my shoulder is from one of the shows we did.
Oh, no way!
And you're an award-winning dancer, correct?
I was nominated for an Astaire Award for Lysistrata Jones.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we've gone from Chorus Line to the next show. Was
Lysistrata Jones.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. So that was this quirky, amazing. Wait,
we did it?
MVT do it? Yes.
Did.
Yeah, so it's this beautifully quirky show with so much heart. It's so smart. Douglas Carter Bean, the writer, is like one of the most funny and intelligent people that I know. And we did it in the basement of a church off Broadway, and it got a rave review in the Times. And so it transferred to Broadway, and it played for a month. Oh, no, that's a lie. We previewed for a month, and we opened for a month. So it was a total of 2 months. But the ticket sales just weren't. It was a bad time to open, and also it didn't sell. So that was my first experience being in not a flop, but a not hit musical.
So you remedied that after that, right? You were in
Be More. Yeah, the next show after that was If Then with Idina Menzel, and that ran for just over a year.
And then Be More Chill after that?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Tell us a little bit about Be More Chill, because we're producing it this next year.
Yes, I think that's so cool.
We haven't cast it yet, so if you're interested, we can talk.
All right. Yeah, Hawaii is a great place to quarantine, better than New York. So Be More Chill, it's about this unremarkable high schooler named Jeremy here, and he feels like a total outcast. He feels like, he just doesn't fit in anywhere in high school. And so he takes this thing called a SQUIP, which is what I played, and that stands for Super Quantum Unit Intel Processor. Whoa, pictures. That's Lysistrata Jones. That's me as the SQUIP. And so the Super Quantum Unit Intel Processor is this little pill that he takes, and inside that pill is a computer chip, a supercomputer, and that implants itself in his brain. And I played the visual representation of that supercomputer. So only he could see me. And I'm basically like a coach. I coach him on, I have an infinite database and my processing speeds are off the charts. And so I can come up with, new multiple scenarios and guide him on the thing that he should say in order to get the girl that he wants, or the thing that he should say in order to not get beat up by the high school bully anymore. And so at first it's this like kind of Cinderella story, right? Where it's like he gets all of his wishes granted. And then over the course of the show, you sort of see the cost of this technology and the cost of ambition, I suppose.
All right, spoiler alert.
No spoils, no spoils.
Hey, listen, it was really great of you to come and spend some time with us. I really appreciate it. And next time, though, I'd really like to have you sing.
Yes.
I mean,
great. No, I'm working on
singer.
As I'm quarantined, I'm working on the ukulele. Like I'm getting back in touch with that, but I'm like so beginning. I'm such a beginner, and I know like 10 seconds to like 30 different songs because I have ADD, and so I'm just like I can't actually sit down and like focus and learn one whole song. But next time, I'm gonna have a song ready. I promise.
All right. Well, listen, I really appreciate you hanging in there, your concentration and everything for about 15 minutes with us. And
yeah,
I hope that you'll hang on a little bit and come back at the very end before the end of the show. So
great.
Thank you so much. And Dylan, turn it back over to you, buddy.
All right. Well, it wasn't that bad of a in-out, was it, Kip?
Oh, no, it was all right. That was the first time I've interviewed someone on camera or actually on stage.
That was the first time?
That's the first time.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, let us know in the comments who you would rather want.
No. We're not going there.
All right.
I'll let you take over, buddy.
Yep, I will. Okay. All right. So our next guest, super legendary actress, performer in Hawaii. She has been in Elvis in Hawaii. And I'm just going to let her introduce herself. Please help me introduce Cathy Foy. Cathy.
Oh, my God. How did you know that?
We have to know.
Well, okay. Thank you. Good to see you, Dylan. And thank you for helping me with all my technical things. It's I'm technically challenged, computer challenged.
No,
even today.
I'm finding more and more each day myself that technology is just kind of going at a faster pace as we move on. So sometimes
Too fast for me.
All right. So you talked a little bit before the stream, and you said that your parents, your mother is Japanese.
Yeah, I'm half Japanese, half Irish. So okay. I'm Hapa.
Hapa, yes.
Nihongo perapera desu. I was born in Japan, and we moved to Hawaii when my father was transferred. He was not in the military. He went to Japan after the war and met my mom and fell in love. And then he was in intelligence, and so he was transferred to work at Fort Shafter. And so we lived in Hawaii. And every once in a while, we'd go back to Japan to visit relatives and stuff like that. Mm-hmm.
Nice. So when you moved to Hawaii, did you go to school here as well? Did you start doing theater when you were in Hawaii?
I guess from the moment my mother tells me, I was studying Japanese dance and dance even when I was growing up in Japan, in kindergarten. And my mother kept telling me I was just this unrelenting, horrible ham. And she said, it was kind of embarrassing to take you to Japanese restaurants because, the traditional Japanese restaurants, they have the private rooms with the shoji doors and things, And my favorite, and the thing is, I don't remember doing this, but my mother keeps telling me, she goes, you used to open up the shoji door and go, "Hi, can I sing for you?" So so anyway, moved to Hawaii, and I went to Sacred Hearts Convent, Sacred Hearts Academy,
Nice.
and fell in love with singing. Because yes, really, they were singing nuns at Sacred Hearts Academy, and they had a beautiful choir, and I fell in love with music, and just continued my love affair with theater from then on. Continued at University of Hawaii, and then I did theater at University of Hawaii, and Diamond Head Theater and Manoa Valley Theater, and Army.
Ooh.
And then decided to move to New York to see if how how it would end up there, auditioning and rubbing elbows with people and just sort of getting experience there.
Mm-hmm. So, Cathy, they also tell me that you grew up near Manoa Valley Theater's board president, Jeff Portnoy.
I was a member of the board too. Yeah.
So,
yeah, I was. Yeah.
So, tell us a little bit about that relationship that you have with Jeff Portnoy. Were you growing up? Were you friends?
No, I didn't know Jeff when I was growing up. No, I only met him, knew of him through Manoa Valley Theater, and my experience with shows there when I helped choreograph Honk, and also assisted with Song of Singapore, at Manoa Valley Theater, and I fell in love with the idea that they had parents, that adopt a musical, and they would feed you and take care of you, and that was such a wonderful concept. And I became a board member shortly after, I believe, Song of Singapore, and then they repeated it again because it was so successful. So that's how I got to know Jeff, through being on the board, and he is a hilarious guy. He is so funny.
Well, that's good to know, because he's also a lawyer, so we have times.
Right. Yeah. In labor law.
Yeah. All right. So you were also in the second touring company of South Pacific, and what was it like being on tour?
Being on tour was really interesting. It wasn't my first tour, but this was a very special tour because it was the oh my God, you got the pictures. Okay. Okay. So anyway, if I could go like a few years earlier, when they were here in Hawaii auditioning for Bloody Mary, and I told them, I said, I don't think I'm right for this part, but I know the perfect person who would be the perfect Bloody Mary for you. Her name is Loretta Ablacer. And not only was I thinking about it, Roslyn was thinking about it, and Bree Lumatai. We all had the same idea. And so when they contacted me, they said, well, could you send us, the information so we could contact her? And it was the funniest story, because at that time we had, we had email, yeah, of course, but I was sending her all the information by email, and I can still remember I called her, and she answers the phone, and she goes, hello. And I went, Loretta, the people here are here, and they're auditioning for South Pacific, and I told them you'd be the perfect Bloody Mary, and I sent you all the information. She went, what? And then behind you, and I went, that's it. So, just download, print everything, and then contact them, and go do the audition, because we were both in the same show at Diamond Head, which was called You Somebody. Auditioned, and the rest was history. And we've been friends ever since, and we emailed each other back and forth during the. In fact, to be honest with you, I recommended her for the Broadway production, and she was kind enough to recommend me for the tour.
Oh, nice.
They called me and out of the blue, and I went, are you sure? And that's one of the things that I always tell kids kids and adults that I coach, when I said, never limit yourself. Don't be afraid to audition for roles that are outside of your comfort zone. Don't think, oh, I'm not right for that role. I'm not the right, face, the look or whatever. You never know. I kept holding myself back in the sense that, I thought, oh no, Bloody Mary, no, I don't think that's the role for me. But then when they flew me up to audition, I had to do an audition tape first, singing, and then they flew me up to New York. And I kept thinking, character study. How can I? Because I cannot be, on this role. And I predicted that she would get a Tony nomination because of for South Pacific, and she did. And the first thing I said to the the people auditioning, I said, I think that I have the greatest respect for Loretta, but I really couldn't, be like her, or if you would allow me to give my own interpretation of Bloody Mary, if you would allow me that. And so they did. And I tried to be more of a combination of the hustler from Miss Saigon, hey, come over here, come here. I got this for you. Yeah. Come on. Come on. I get one bracelet. I got no one for you. Come on. And I would go and watch the ladies that who were working in Chinatown, or in the kiosks at the international marketplace, and how they would hustle the people to come and buy trinkets from them and stuff. And I would listen to them and watch them and see and use their slang and things like that. And so I sort of incorporated that, because what would she be like if it was more, a modern well, sort of, but it's such an incredible musical. The music is just so gorgeous, and it is. I just had, it was the greatest honor to be a part of this beautiful musical, this American classic. And being on a tour is not easy. It was boot camp. It was like boot camp. It taught me a lot in a very short time, and it's very similar to quarantine. Like what's happening now, because the schedule was 48 cities in 8 months. 48 cities. And number one, you always had to be in good voice. You were not allowed to get sick. So you can't go out of your room except, to go to the gym, or to go buy groceries from your, for your apartment, or wherever they put you in. But you were not allowed to get sick. You always had to be healthy. And that was, one of the things that always, and you never know when you're going from city to city to city. You always had to keep yourself in shape and in good health. And I learned so much from that. Yeah.
And so with keeping yourself in good health and good shape, you also have a very remarkable voice. And I was wondering if you would be willing to sing for us today.
Great. Yeah, I'd love to. And I just wanted to thank you, for letting me be a part of this. And, keep your lungs healthy, everybody. I'm also with the American Lung Association, and we're trying to find the virus here and supporting it with our campaign, and our turquoise campaign. And I'm wearing the turquoise pin here. But the song I'd like to sing is it is dedicated to everybody, and I'm just telling all my singer friends and actor friends and all my friends, and stay close to family, love your family. It's called How Do You Keep the Music Playing?
All right. Take it away, Cathy.
I hope it works.
That was remarkable, Cathy.
Thank you.
Yeah. And,
I need a haircut.
No, you're fine just the way that you are. And,
Oh, thank you.
and I'm gonna bring back Kip and Jason. And how do you say we close down this show?
Sure. Yeah.
Kip.
Thank you, Cathy.
Jason.
Oh,
Yes.
pleasure.
Very nice.
Jason, love.
Ethan, Jason, you're muted.
Hi, that was beautiful.
Oh,
And as you were singing, my cat Malcolm crawled up to
You heard it?
very interested in what was happening. That was gorgeous.
Thank you.
And so proud of you. So proud of you. Hawaii is so proud of you, Jason. And keep staying strong and moving forward. You're one of our torchbearers, when I think about all the, Greg Zane and Sherry Nakamura and Christine Yasunaga and all those wonderful, wonderful, talented kids that, and Melanie Locklear.
Oh, mahalo. And I'm very proud to have started at Manoa Valley Theater.
We're
Yes.
so blessed.
And Diamond Theater too, yeah. And
Theater, yeah.
Yes.
So blessed here in Honolulu to have so much talent that's gone out and also still here. Thank you, Cathy Foy. Thank you, Jason Tam, for visiting. Stay safe, be well, and if you guys enjoyed the show, and also to help us get to the fall when we start producing again, please donate. Go to 808-988-6131 or ManoaValleyTheater.com. We look forward to seeing you next week.
All right. Mahalo.
Stay strong. Stay
Aloha.
strong.